Welcome to the Metal Mad Podcast. And it's going to be a bit of a sad day today because this will be the final day of the Disney project. And man, I will tell you, the week has just flown by, hasn't it? But I'll be getting to the Disney films, and it's really not going to be, probably won't be that long because I'm only covering 4 Disney films today. So I was trying to get it over as soon as possible. First, I want to give a shout out to, you know what? I will go ahead and say it. I consider these two to be my best friends ever. And that is Spanky and G. And they have a great podcast called Movie Mayhem. And they just released a new episode today. And they reviewed Jack Frost, which. And it was really good. And I would say this about Jack Frost. I've watched Jack Frost. It was terrible. like, God, like, I could barely get through that movie. And like, I'll watch anything, but that one was just, that was really painful to watch. Jack Frost is 90 minutes I can never get back. I could have used those 90 minutes to do something really profound with my life. I could have learned a new foreign language. I could have watched my dog eat out of a cat's litter box. That would have been more entertaining than watching Jack Frost. But anyway, that was a great episode, great review. And next week they're going to be doing Napoleon Dynamite. And I know those two love that movie because I know that they quote it quite a lot. And so that will be definitely interesting to watch. Because I do like Napoleon Dynamite too. Gosh! Fucking idiot. So yeah, that's going to be a really fun episode next week. And I also want to give a special shout out to Chucky115 Awesome, who I consider another best friend. And he does a lot of great banners and pictures for the site, as well as for Chucky's Playground Instagram page. So thank you very much to Chucky115 Awesome for all you do for the site. And I just want to let you know that we greatly appreciate it, brother. And speaking of Chucky's Playground, we were thinking about having a live stream in just a few weeks. We will be finishing out the Chucky movies with Seed of Chucky and Curse of Chucky. So if you want to get on board, be sure to register or join us at Chucky's Playground. As always, I'll post a link in the description. And we want to have a fun time in just a few weeks, and I'll see you on the playground. And so now it's time to shoot the shuffle. At number 1, No More Words by Pretty Thing from 22nd Century Lifestyle. And I was hoping that Pretty Thing would pop up on Shoot the Shuffle soon because I actually really like this band, you know. I think they're an underrated band, and they're no longer together. They only made one album because the front man died, unfortunately, before its release, so they only made one album. But that one album is really good. Songs like Can't Stop, Shoot Shoot, Carl Song, and Sunshine I Love, and War, which is the opening track. All those are really great songs, so definitely check it out. Number 2, Give Me 3 Steps by Leonard Skinner, from pronounced Leonard Skinner. Obviously, Leonard Skinner, great Southern rock band, and it's a really cool song. Number 3, We're an American Band by Poison, from The Best of Poison, 20 Years of Rock. Poison did they did a great, I would say great, but they did a good version of We're an American Band, which was originally by Grand Funk Railroad. Number 4, Institutionalized by Suicidal Tendencies, from Suicidal Tendencies. This is a really good punk song. It's mostly spoken, and it's just a really, kind of tells a really good story to it as well. Number 5, Pictures in Red by King Diamond, from Give Me Your Soul, Please. This one is more of an interlude than anything else. You know, but it's still pretty good. Number 6, Flesh by Aerosmith, from Get a Grip. One more lengthier Aerosmith songs. It's really good, though. It's not the best from Get a Grip. Number 7, SATO by Ozzy Osbourne from Diary of a Madman. I think Diary of a Madman is Ozzy's best album, and this is one of the key tracks from Diary of a Madman. Number 8, World of Denial by Joan Jett and the Blackhearts from Pure and Simple. This one wasn't on the American release of Pure and Simple. It was done on the Japanese edition of it, I think. I don't know. But I do know that it was released in 97 on 50 Rekai Greatest Hits. So that's how the Americans got it. That's how we Americans got it. Number 9, Dead Girl Superstar by Rob Zombie from the Sinister Urge. Great, great song. One of my favorites off the Sinister Urge. And finally, number 10, Children of the Revolution. Children of the Revolution by T-Rex from Tanks. T-Rex, obviously, great glam band, great glam rock band. And I used 20th Century Boy as my normal theme. And that's going to happen in the next episode. I've been using, various decade songs to introduce the episodes since I'm covering decades. But starting on Friday, we can go back to our normal way of doing stuff. And this, in 20th Century Boy, is a great song. And Children of the Revolution is also a great song as well. Great chorus. T-Rex has always done great melodies and great choruses. So that is all for Shoot the Shuffle, and now it's time to move on to Disney. And this probably won't be very long since we don't have a lot to cover, but we'll do our best. And the first thing we're going to be talking about is Tangled. And this is back. They went back to the CGI kind of thing that they've been doing, mainly because The Princess and the Frog didn't do very well at the box office. Well, it didn't necessarily bomb. It wasn't the hit that Disney expected it to. So they decided to go back to CGI, which, you know what? I always like hand-drawn animation better than CGI. That's just me, And of course, I think CGI does a lot better at the box office than hand-drawn animation, which is a shame, but And it really shouldn't be called Tangled. It should be called Rapunzel, because that's who it's about. But I also know why they do it as Tangled, because they also do focus on another male guy. The story revolves around the story of Rapunzel, who has longer hair than any glam metal band I've ever seen. And it also revolves around Street Hustler or Burger, I'm not sure exactly what he is, called Flynn Rider. And he's actually pretty funny in this one. He also has a horse. That can actually be really funny. He doesn't talk, but just his facial expressions and the animation on him is absolutely stellar. And Rapunzel has this wicked stepmother who stole her from her actual parents to retain her youth, And the mother is actually really good as well. A very good evil kind of figure. And Flynn Rider and Rapunzel go on an adventure. And there's not really a very concrete plot to it, I don't really remember a ton about this movie. I know that some of the songs are pretty good. I know the one that Rapunzel's stepmother sings is pretty good. And the one that all the freaks sing in the bar, I think is good as well. Other than that, I don't remember too much about the other songs in the movie. So overall, Tangled, I didn't like as much as Princess and the Frog, but I definitely, it's a cute movie, it's Disney. They do what they do, So I thought Tangled was good for what it was. And so now we move on to 2011 and Winnie the Pooh. And I was really excited for this movie to come out because I don't think we had a new Winnie the Pooh in years. I think the last one that we had was Pooh's Heffalump movie in 2005. And since then, they had been doing like this TV show on Playhouse Disney called My Friends Tigger and Pooh, which I only watched a few episodes of, and it wasn't really that great. I didn't really like the new character that they had going for Darby, I think her name was. I was like, whatever happened to Christopher Robin? But yeah. So I wasn't really a big fan of that show. And Winnie the Pooh has had like a lot of movies, but they haven't been like theatrical movies in the Disney canon. They've always been the Disney Toon Studios, which mostly is direct to DVD. Mostly. I think the other movies are Pooh's Grand Adventure, The Search for Christopher Robin, the Tigger movie, Piglet's Big Movie, Pooh's Ephraim movie, those type of stuff. And I might actually do another episode on Winnie the Pooh movies, or Winnie the Pooh, just kind of related material, because it's really good. I remember watching the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, or the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. It's the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I used to watch that like obsessively because when I was a kid, it was really good. So I might do like another episode on Winnie the Pooh related material. But anyway, we're talking about the 2011 movie, and I think this is really good. It kind of confused me for a little bit because all the voice actors were really different. And I grew up with like the same voice actors, but the thing about it was they all died. Like they just all died and they had to get new ones. And for the most part, I don't really notice it that much. Like Piglets is a pretty good, and so is Rabbit. Owl's one is kind of odd. I mean, he's voiced by Craig Ferguson, and I like Craig Ferguson. I think he's funny, but I don't know. The voice just kind of seemed a little bit off to me. It didn't really sound the same, quite the same, which I wasn't expecting. But I don't know. It just felt kind of odd and a bit awkward to me. But I like Craig Ferguson. I think he's really funny. So yeah. So the plot is basically kind of like the mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh back in '77, where it's all these stories, and I think there's only like two stories. I think one revolves around the gang confronting the Baxen, and there's actually a lot of cool songs in this movie. The Baxen song is really great as well, and I think there's also a song about honey in there, and that's really good as well. And I actually really did like this movie. Yeah, there's also another story where Eeyore loses his tail and the gang tries to get a replacement tail, and that's a really cute story. And one thing I wasn't expecting, the film is only about 60 minutes long. Like, that's really short. Like, I was really left. When the film ended, I was like, really? That's it? That's all you want to do? Like, I was really surprised. But overall, I think it's a really good movie. I mean, I love Winnie the Pooh. Always have and always will. So, I thought this was a great movie. Unfortunately, it didn't do that well at the box office. Maybe because it opened up against Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 2. Which, like, whoever thought of that was, like, an idiot. Like, why are you putting something like Winnie the Pooh up against Harry Potter? Like, come on. But, yeah, I think Winnie the Pooh is a great movie. So, and now we move on to 2012, WreckIt Ralph. And this was back to CGI animation. And it looks like it's going to be that way for the future because I think Disney might have announced like a few years ago that they were no longer going to be doing hand-drawn animation movies and they were going to stick to CGI, which I don't like. I'd rather see hand-drawn animation than CGI animation, but whatever. So Wreck-It Ralph revolves around a villain in a Mario-like game called Wreck-It Ralph, and it revolves around the villain Wreck-It Ralph, played by John C. Reilly, in which he actually doesn't want to be the bad guy anymore. He wants to be the good guy. And I think that's a really interesting premise. So he actually goes out of his game, and there's like all types of games that are portrayed in there. And it's like it's a bad thing if he goes out of his game, because then the game won't work. And so he goes and tries to be a hero in other games. And I think it's a really interesting premise. And it's a really interesting movie. There's also a character named I don't remember the character's name, but I know that she's played by Sarah Silverman, and I do like Sarah Silverman. I think she's funny, but her character was really annoying in this one. I mean, just really annoying. And there was also the villain, like King Candy, I think his name was, and it's supposed to be a twist that he's the villain, but you could see it coming miles away. Like, you know he's going to be the villain as soon as he shows up. So overall, Wreck-It Ralph is actually, I did like Wreck-It Ralph. I think it had a really interesting premise. It did kind of die down in the second half because it became all about Sarah Silverman's character, and it was like Wreck-It Ralph had become a supporting player in his own movie. And and it really doesn't center around Wreck-It Ralph. It centers more around Sarah Silverman's character in the second half, which is really disappointing. And it keeps the movie from being really entertaining and being the way it can be. So overall, I think Wreck-It Ralph is pretty good. And so now, finally, the final movie for the Disney project. You know what it is. It's Frozen. This was a really big movie. I remember it because it only came out like a few months ago, but everybody has been talking about this movie. Everybody's been going crazy about this movie. The songs, the animation, all that stuff. When I first heard that they were doing Frozen, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be any good or not. It didn't help that I saw the teaser trailer, which focuses on Olaf the Snowman, and I was like, no, just no. Like, it looks way too cute for its own good. And I really thought that Olaf was going to be like the breakout character. And there's nothing wrong with breakout characters. They can be really funny. But when I think that they're shoved in your face, that's when it gets really good. That's when it gets really kind of obnoxious. And that's why I really felt that Olaf was trying to be what they wanted Olaf to be. They wanted him to be, the genie or Timon and Pumbaa or I'd even say Hades or Kronk. They wanted him to be that breakout character that everybody would remember and everybody would buy the merchandise for. That's really what I was thinking. So I was kind of like dreading this movie. Like, oh God. Then I saw the movie. And I was kind of glad I was wrong. Because Olaf really doesn't play that big of a role. Which I'm like, thank God. The movie is really great. It deserves all the praise it gets. It revolves around two princesses, Anna and Elsa. And Elsa has these magical powers of like freezing stuff. The Snow Queen, I think she is, and it's based on like Hans Christian Andersen's story, The Snow Queen. And she accidentally hurts Anna while using the powers, and she's locked in her room to make sure that she doesn't abuse her powers or stuff like that. And the songs in here are just great, Oh, by the way, the villain. The villain, again, is a villain that you could see coming a mile away. As soon as I saw him, I knew he was going to be the villain. And it also kind of reminded me of Tangled, in a way, with the, I don't remember his name, Shocker. He's not a very memorable character, but he's like the male lead, I guess. And he really reminded me a lot of Flynn Rider. Just kind of his personality, even the way he looked was kind of Flynn Rider-esque. Anyway, back to the songs. The songs were really good. Let It Go, of course, awesome. For the First Time in Forever. Do You Want to Build a Snowman? Just great as well. So all the songs in there were really good as well. And Olaf, I was kind of, again, like I said, I was really dreading this character. But as it turns out, he was actually really good. And he didn't really do as much as I thought he was going to do. Which is good, of course. And I ended up really liking the character. The performance is great as well. And I do like his attitude, So Olaf kind of went from a character I was getting ready to despise to a character that I really like. So I'm glad that I was proved wrong. So sometimes it pays off to be wrong. So overall, I think Frozen is really good. It deserves all the praise it gets. And that's all for the Disney project. There's one movie. There's going to be a Disney movie coming out later this year, I think like November or something like that, called Big Hero 6. I don't really know what it's about. That's how out of the loop I am. But I think it's going to have something to do with Marvel and superheroes and stuff like that. So I might talk about that more in a future episode. Do some research on it, and talk about it in a future episode. So that's all for the Disney project. And this was a fun week. And I just want to talk about something. I just want to talk about the future of the Metal Matt podcast. And I've been doing the podcast for quite a while now. And I decided to do a bit of a more stricter schedule because, I just kind of do the podcast, whenever I want, but I just decided I need to have a bit of an actual schedule. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release this podcast twice a week on Wednesdays and Fridays. And I believe that Movie Mayhem will be going on late Monday, early Tuesday, so I don't want to overlap with them. I want them to have their moment in the sun and my own moment in the sun, So, two great podcasts coming out a week. And it's going to be just an awesome way to kind of check out what we're doing, I love Movie Mayhem, and so it's just a great way to kind of, do what you need to do. So Movie Mayhem will be coming out on Tuesdays. I'll be doing mine on Wednesdays and Fridays. So that's it for Mel Matt podcast. For this episode of the Mel Matt podcast. Remember, I'm getting a new schedule Wednesdays and Fridays. And on the next episode of the Mel Matt podcast, which will be this Friday, as I'm going to take the next couple of days off, of course, kind of give myself a chance to breathe. So I will be. On Friday, I will be doing an episode that has been requested a lot. I'm going to be doing my top 10 horror scores / theme songs. So that will be Friday, and I'll see you then.